So let's talk about prototypal inheritance, which is a vital concept when talking about JavaScript. So imagine that I'm creating an object called user, and then as part of the user, I got a property called name Peter, right? So what happens if I do console.log user.peter? Not Peter, sorry, user.name. What's that going to display? Peter, that's correct, right? And that's quite easy to figure out because the user object has a property called name, so we can essentially play with it. So let me accept Rafa, and now let's present the next problem. What happens if I do user.age? Undefined, that's correct, because the user object has no information at all about how old Peter is. That probably means Peter is quite old, but that's a different story, right? So that returns undefined because we don't know how old Peter is. Fantastic. But now, let me present you another problem. Let user equals Peter. What happened if I type user.length? What's that going to return? 5. Well, first of all, you are right, that's going to return 5. But why? Well, look, what type of data user is? It's a string, that's correct. However, guys, if you pay attention, that's something that we all know, but probably you never ask yourself, why if user is a string, I can use it as it was an object? You see, user dot notation, that's something, characteristic of objects. So do you see what the problem is? User is a string. However, in reality, we can use it as an object sometimes. What happens if I do user.brexit? What's that going to return? That's going to return. No, that's going to return undefined. That's correct. But why user.brexit returns undefined, but user.length returns 5? Well, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, of course. That's why it's 5 and not 6. But why user.length returns a number instead of undefined? That's interesting. That's interesting, Max. Indeed, user.length, it's a JavaScript property. But the JavaScript property of what? Yeah, that's not obvious. Why length is there, but Brexit is not there yet? All right. So let's talk about the prototype in JavaScript. So the prototype is essentially a chain of boxes that JavaScript evaluates in order to decide what's the value associated to a property. So let me try to display some boxes. That never works as smoothly as I would want, but let me play with some content here. So imagine that, for instance, I got some text. So let me call it let user equals Peter. Yeah. And now, how can I move the box somewhere? Come on. I can. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. All right, guys, sorry, ignore my ability of using these tools. All right, so let me put here let user equals Peter on the left-hand side. Yeah. And now I would like to explain how the prototype works. So when talking about, when we create a variable called let user equals Peter, in reality, what JavaScript does is it creates some sort of box. Yeah. And then inside of that box, essentially, all we know is that there is a variable called user and the value of user is Peter. That's all we know. So if we check the value of user, JavaScript will check in that virtual box and they will say, yeah, I know what the value of the variable is, it's Peter. However, what happened when we later on, when we do user dot length. That's correct. That will return 5. But the reason why this is going to return 5, it's because there is a prototype chain. When we check user.length, does this box provide any information about that length? No, that box has no idea what the length property means. Then what JavaScript will do is it will check further down in something called the data type prototype. So what type of data user is, guys? It's a string, correct. It's a string, and that means eventually it will check on the string prototype. And the string prototype, it is an object. Yeah. The data type prototype, it doesn't matter if it's a string, if it's an array, if it's an object, if it's a Boolean, it's going to be always an object. And what kind of information that object has? Well, can you tell me, guys, which operations we can introduce in strings? So we can do string dot what? Of course, we can do string dot length. Split, fantastic, that's correct. What else, guys? Join, wrong. Join doesn't work with the strings. Join works with arrays. So string dot what? What else can we do with the strings, guys? That's correct, Max. Char at. Anything else? Well, it gives you the char at the given character. So if you do user.char at 2, it will return 0, 1, 2, will return t. Replace, that's correct. We got few, right? Replace, slice. Say it again. For loop, no, well, you tell me. Can you do user dot what? For each? No, I don't think you can. Yeah. So there are multiple properties in the string prototype. If you are curious, you know what you can do. I'm back to DevTools now. If you type a string into your terminal, into the DevTools, right? Into the console. Now, if you type dot proto, look, you see, with 2 underscores on the left and 2 underscores on the right, that will spoil you. Look. See all the properties associated to the string, including slice, including substring, to lowercase, you remember, guys, to uppercase. Oh, trim, that's a new one, guys. Trim, I think, was added, not trim, no, I got confused, right? So ignore me. I think trim end or trim left and trim right, they are quite new, I believe. So you got few, right? So that's the string prototype. What that works, whenever you do user.something, because that information is not available, that's not part of the data directly, because that's a string, that's not even an object. Before giving up, before returning undefined, JavaScript will check in the string prototype. Yeah, let me actually, just for semantics reason, let me put 2 double ampersands. Yeah, no, 2 double ampersands. Sorry, 2 underscores on the left and 2 underscores on the right, and it will check: do I have a length property or method or whatever in the string prototype? Yes, I got it. So what's the value associated to the length? Well, that's up to JavaScript. JavaScript will know what to do, right, with that. So we don't need to care about that. Likewise, when we call replace, JavaScript will run the algorithm under the hood. Yeah? So that's the way the prototype works when talking about strings. Any questions? It's a good question. I cannot show you now because I cannot share my screen on VS Code. I believe I'm just guessing. But I believe if you on VS Code, that should work in theory. I think that should work, right? If you do string.proto like that, that should return the object. What I like about DevTools in this particular case is that the object is interactive. You see, I can actually navigate through the object properties. I don't think you can do that on VS Code, not at least out of the box. Maybe with a plugin you can do that. Yeah. Oh, any questions about the string prototype? All right, so now let's talk about objects. Imagine that now user, it's not a string, it's an object. So let me present a new example. Well, let user equals name Peter. Yeah, something like that. Let me try to put it in one line. Here you go. Name Peter. Yeah, that's our second user. So now, imagine that, well, let's display the box of the user, right? So I have a box here, something like that, right? And then that's all we know about the user so far. So imagine that now I want to check user dot name. As we've seen before, that will return Peter as a string. Why? Well, because in this particular case, does that box, guys, can that box solve that problem? Do we have the information about the name in that box? Yes, we do, right? We got that information already. And because of that, we don't need to check anything else. Of course, there is an object prototype. Yeah. So there is an object prototype. Oh, come on, I can do line. I can do that. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. That's the list of actions and properties you can deal with regarding that particular data type. In this case, we got an object, so there is a prototype on that object. Does anyone know? That question is a bit tricky. Let me alert you about that. Does anyone know any property in the object prototype? Dot keys. Okay, right. That's a really good point. You're wrong, but let's try to see why. You say that object.keys is a property in the object prototype. That means that in theory, can I do guys user.keys? No. So the prototype means, can I do variable name dot something? So what can we do here? Again, that question, it's a bit tricky. We are not used to play with the object prototype. However, again, we can do something. If we are curious, you know what we can do? Again, the same exercise. Create an object, dot, proto, and that will, what the hell I did? Object.proto, that's not right. Object.proto, that's a bit weird. Let me create a variable. All right, let me create a variable user equals name Peter. And then let me do user.proto. There you go. Yeah. You see, we don't have many properties in the object prototype. Yeah. These are a bit strange. There is one called toString. Let's see what happens if I do user.toString. Not very helpful, right? Not very helpful. So the object prototype, it's by itself is not very popular. Let's say you are not gonna play with it frequently. However, you should know that it is there, right? So that's the way it works. So what's going on with my box? Okay, let me paint it again. All right, here you go. So we got toString alongside other properties that I'm gonna ignore right now. Yeah. So that's the way the object prototype works. Let me continue working in this exercise. Imagine that I got my user, right? Named Peter. So far, we've seen that the prototype chain has two levels. When talking about the strings, we got the data by itself and the string prototype. When talking about objects, we got the data and the object prototype. However, However, back to DevTools. Let me show you something. If I got let user equals name Peter, right? Can I do now? Look at what I'm doing. This is going to be user 1 from now on. Look, if I can do object.create user 2. Look at that, guys. Sorry. If I type it correctly, let user 2 equals object.create user 1. So when you use object.create, I'll show you what's happening. Here you go. When I do object.create, in reality, I'm adding a new box. Let me call it back again to user 1. User 1. There you go. Yep. So now let me create another object. Oh, what the hell is that? User 2. Yeah. So now I'm going to create on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm going to create user 2 equals object.create. Is it typing? Maybe not. Okay, let me try again. Object.create user 1. That's a way to extend the object prototype. Another way it works is I'm essentially creating a new box here on the right hand side. And that box inherits from user 1. So now the box has, what do we have here? Well, I'll tell you. User 2 is, technically speaking, it's an empty object. So if I ask you the question, can anyone tell me what user 2 dot name is gonna display? Peter, why? Okay, wait, Peter. Okay, fantastic, Peter. I'll show you something. If you check user2.name, it will first of all check on this box. Do we have information about the name of the user2 in this box, guys? No, not at all. But before giving up, when I said giving up means before returning undefined, JavaScript will check the prototype chain. And in the prototype chain, the next box is user1. Do we have information about the name of the user in this box? Yes, then return it. That's why user2.name is going to return Peter. Yeah? Any questions? What happened if later on I change my mind and then I do user2.name equals John? What happened if I check user2.name? Why John? Well, you're right, guys. That's going to be John. The reason is we'll check in this box first of all. And now, because we've updated user2, in reality, that box has changed. Now, we got information about the name of the user. You see? So, because that box, the original box, has all the details we need, then that's it. We are not gonna check on the parent prototype. Yeah? So we'll stop here and we will just return John as you said. Yeah? So that's the way it works. What happened, guys, if now I do user1.age equals 34 and then I check user2.age. I'll zoom that in a minute. So what user2.age is gonna return? 34. Yeah, correct. Why? Well, user2 has no idea about how old the user is. However, if we move back to user1, yeah, now that box has changed. So now in reality, now we got more information, right? Because we have added the age of user1, which is 34, right? So now we know that John is 34. So user2.age is going to be 34 as well. Yeah. What happened if later on I delete, guys, look, delete user2.name. Can anyone tell me what user2.name is gonna return? Peter, that's correct. That's correct. Look, delete user2.name implies pop, we get rid of that information from user2. So if we want to get that information, what we'll do is the name of user2 available? No. Check here. Is the name of user2, if the name of the user available? Yes, Peter, right? So now user2.name is gonna return Peter, where I am. Let me try to type that. It's gonna return Peter, yeah, as a string, of course. And now, final question. What happened if we try to do, well, two more questions actually. Imagine that we bring the name of the user back. So user2.name now is called Tony. What happened if I do, no, let me change that. We're gonna do user2 dot, come on, I want to type. Where is my cursor? I cannot type anymore. Yeah, I need to buy a license or something. All right, so let me try to type something. So what I want to do is I want to type something else. I want to type user2 dot email equals whatever, foo@bar.com. Yeah. What happened if I then do user1.email? What's that gonna display? That's correct. Undefined. That's very important, guys, because the prototype works in one direction. Yeah. The hierarchy is important. User2 depends, from a prototype perspective, on user1, but not on the other way around. So if we check something on user1, we're gonna check in that box and also in the box at the bottom, but never in the parent box, never at user2, right? And what happens if we finally do user2.location? What's that gonna return? Undefined, that's correct. And the reason is, do we have information about the location in the box on the right-hand side? No, no problem at all. Don't give up yet. Don't return undefined yet. Check on the next one. Do we have the location as part of user1? No. Are we giving up already or not yet? Not yet, because we still got the object prototype. Do we have location property as part of the object prototype? Not at all. So in that case, then we are gonna return undefined and not undefined. Yeah. That's the beautifulness about the prototype chain in JavaScript. It's dynamic. It's dynamic, right? So you can create a new variable and you may not have the age available, but then if later on you add the age, the object you created earlier on will take advantage of these changes, right? That doesn't happen in other languages like Java. So I'm oversimplifying things, but inheritance in Java works differently. Inheritance in Java is static. When you create your data, then you set up the inheritance structure. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Languages like Java and C#, they play with something called class-based inheritance. You create your objects, you create your data structures, and then you set up the inheritance. Yeah, and that's it. If the data changes later on, inheritance is not going to change. However, in JavaScript, because of prototypal inheritance, it is dynamic. So even if when you create your objects, you don't keep all the details. If you keep adding details later on, the inherited objects will be able to access the new details of the prototype chain. In that respect, prototypal inheritance is considered more dynamic. It enables some techniques we are not going to talk now, like polymorphism, in case you are curious. Yeah? And of course, if you ask a Java developer, he will complain about that, but that's a different story. Questions? No? So that's, yeah, I think guys, in this, I think having this sort of diagram helps a lot, right, to understand the way it works. Let me present a final exercise. I would like to talk about arrays. This is gonna be fun, guys. That's gonna be fun. So imagine that I create a new I create a new variable called let fruits equals apple and orange, yeah? Apple and orange, and that's pretty much, that's pretty much it. So now, I got my classic box. There it is, with all my list of fruits. There you go. And now my question is, what happens if I do fruits.length? What's that gonna return? 2, correct. And then, if you were in a job interview, why? I don't see that property here. So why fruits.length is gonna return 2 instead of undefined? That's correct, because of the array prototype. So there is, guys, look, size matters here. Look at the size of this box. This box is one of the reasons why JavaScript is so popular today. Because starting from 2011, every single year, not every year, every single new edition of JavaScript has been adding new and cool stuff into that box. The more stuff you got in this box, the easier it is to work with JavaScript. Yeah? You'll notice that when you play with intermediate and especially advanced questions in JavaScript, eventually you tend to transform everything into an array, because with arrays we can run multiple operations. For instance, we can get access to the length, of course. What else, guys? Can you tell me any other properties about the array prototype? Splice, correct. Splice, that's pop. Correct. Wait. I'm going to put them all. So splice, slice, pop. What else? Shift and shift. I'm not going to stop until we got at least 25 here. And shift, push, reduce, find, concat, filter, map, every, reduce, you got it already, sum. What else? More, I want more. Flat, that's very interesting, indeed. Flat, guys, flat was added last summer. So flat is one of these shiny new features of JavaScript, yeah? With flat, we can flatten an array. Yeah, I'm not going to explain that now, but exactly. Which one? Reverse. Very interesting indeed. Reverse, correct. What else? Join. Brilliant. That's it. Join. Brilliant. What else? To uppercase. Can you transform an array to uppercase? No, that doesn't make sense, I'm afraid. That's a strings, correct. Random? No. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want at least 3 more, at least, at the very least. We have push, yes, we have concat, you got all of that. I don't know, guys, you got it there, yes, you got pop. What else? I'll give you a hint. What happens if I want to display the fruits following an alphabetical order? What do I need to do? Sort. Fantastic. What else? I still have some appetite for JavaScript methods. Don't Google. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna show you a method you probably never seen. Actually, I'll tell you something. I discovered that method while running workshops at Codery, which is, look at that, reduce write. So reduce write is the same as reduce, but it starts looping from the end of the array. So it starts with orange rather than from apple. Yeah? To me, that's odd. That's odd because you can do reduce.reverse and then the same thing. However, okay, fair enough. I get the advantage of using reduce write. However, why the hell, if we got reduce write, we don't have, for instance, find write? What if you want to find the last element of an array? Yeah, so find write is not part of the JavaScript, not part of the ECMAScript standard, but reduce write is. No, yeah, fine. Okay. I'm not against reduce write. I'm against the lack of consistency. Why don't we have then find write? Because for performance reason, if I want to find the last element, find write will be very useful, right? We don't have find write, I'm afraid. For each, brilliant. We were missing another one. For each, one of the basics, right? For toString, can we do array.toString? No, maybe. No, wait. I'm not against sure loading is wrong, right? Let's figure it out, guys. Let's figure it out. So if I got an array, can we do toString? Yes, we can. It's a bit odd, maybe, but technically speaking, she's right. Be careful, guys, because if we got multiple elements, all right, you get a comma separated list, fair enough. So she's right. She's absolutely right. Cannot argue that. toString. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, not too bad. I'm sure there are a few others, guys. Let's discover, right? So let's do array.proto. And then look, that's massive. Copy within. Entries. Interesting. Fill. I never use fill. That's interesting. That could be nice. Oh, find index. That's a very popular one. For each includes, of course. We forgot includes, guys. That's a very important one. Pod, poop, review. I mean, you see, we cover most of them, right? Sum, sort, splice, toString. Hey, that's not too bad, guys. That's not too bad. I think we've covered dot keys. Yes, there is a dot keys one. So I got the feeling, I'm not very familiar with dot keys, but I got the feeling it should return the indexes of the array. Let me try to figure out keys. So all right. So if I got a hello, yeah, that's a bit hard to tell because that's not something we can immediately consume, right? We need to operate a bit more. So I'm not going to explain that now, right? That's a bit beyond the scope of the session. But anyway, guys, so I hope you agree with me that the array prototype, it's very strong, yeah? And that's one of the reasons why coding, playing with data algorithms became much easier over time. And that's still, running, right? So every year, every new edition of JavaScript, there is some cool news in the array prototype. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Do you have any final questions? Cool. Thank you very much, guys. I'm sharing right now even though this is recorded on YouTube, but I just pasted on Slack the screenshot with with that content. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. So let me know, guys, if you got any questions. Apart from that, thank you very much and see you later. Bye bye.